after the service will be in that room. So to begin, I want to talk a little bit about Guatemala and some of our experiences there, and then I want to focus on what we've been up to since we moved back to the El Paso and Juarez area. We moved to Guatemala a little over 3 years ago now, and it definitely had its challenges, but little by little we adjusted and got settled in and started to really enjoy our lives there. Originally, we moved to Guatemala because Casas had operated there for 2 years without a full-time staff on the ground, and we knew that, it was fine when we only had a few teams going, but we knew that if we continued to grow, that a lot of things would need to change and that somebody would need to be there full-time to take care of some of the day-to-day stuff. And so after Heather and I got settled in, we started renting office space and warehouse space, and we started setting up the accommodations where our teams would be staying while they were there building. And but probably the thing that we really enjoyed the most was recruiting and setting up the monthly pastors meeting, which is something that we have done in all of our other locations, where all the local pastors that we partner with come together on a monthly basis, and they share about things that are going on in their communities and in their churches, and then we plan and we sit down and talk about stuff related to Casas. Our pastors are really an integral part of our ministry, and in fact, we believe that we're really there to be a part of their ministry and to help them, and not the other way around. Without our pastors, we feel like we wouldn't be much more than a humanitarian organization going in and trying to build a better house for a family that has very little. The reality is the houses that we build make a tremendous difference, but they're only temporary. The true house that we want to build is an everlasting house in the form of a relationship with Jesus Christ. And this is where our partnership with the local church is so important. We want our teams that come down to build these houses to point people to Christ. And then we want the pastors in the church to have the opportunity to come alongside that family and continue to mentor them. And so we really look at it as if, we really look to the pastors for guidance, as they're the ones that they know the families. They're part of their day-to-day lives. And so our pastors are really important to us. Over the 3 years that Heather and I were there, we got to meet so many incredible people that not only we had the opportunity to minister to and share the gospel with, but that also poured into our lives. And because of that, we'll never be the same. But a little over a year ago now, our executive director called us up and he said, "How would you and Heather feel about moving back to El Paso and taking over the Juarez department and helping to facilitate some of the changes that you guys made in Guatemala, and helping Juarez get on par with the other locations?" And so we thought about it and we prayed about it, and we decided that towards the end of last year, we would move back and take over the Juarez department. And so in September, we left Guatemala, which was definitely one of the hardest things we've ever had to do. And we began the adjustment of living back in the States. And then on January 1st of this year, I officially took over as the Juarez director. And since then, we've been working on establishing a food program so that when our teams come down, they don't have to pack in that food and cook every night, but instead that's all provided for them, and they can focus more on the build and on the family and on outreach. And the churches that our teams stay at are really falling apart due to years of neglect, and so we're trying to come up with a program where we can invest in them and build them up and fix them up, and not only to provide a better experience for our teams, but also to invest in these churches that we've partnered with for so many years. Lost my train of thought here. And so we want to invest in these churches, but probably the thing that I'm looking forward to the most that we're kind of working on actually has to do with our local pastors. And so we have nearly 100 pastors in a city of almost 2 million people, and most of them don't have any formal education. And so we've been trying to come up with a way that we can invest in our pastors and show them just how much we appreciate them and how important they are to our ministry. And so Seth, who works in the Juarez department, he's a graduate from seminary, and he has several contacts that were former missionaries to Central and South America. They're all fluent in Spanish, and we're in talks with them to hopefully get several of them to come down this fall and put on a week-long course and teach on subjects that our local pastors have showed interest in. And so if this goes well, we'll try to make this a yearly event and then hopefully offer it to all of our pastors in all of our locations. So I'm really excited about what God is doing and where He's leading us, and I'm excited that 2 groups from Majestic are coming down this summer. And yeah, just to wrap this up, Heather and I have been extremely blessed to be a part of this ministry, and we're so thankful for your guys' prayers and your support that have truly guided us over the years. And we would ask that you would continue to pray for us as we continue down this path that God has for us. And yeah, we want to remind you too, after the service, we'll be in this room, especially if you guys are coming on a trip or thinking about coming on a trip and maybe you might have some more questions or just would like to hear maybe a little more detail about what's going on in our lives. We'd love to share that with you. So thank you guys for having us here today.